Hello, everybody. Welcome to the exciting recap of Week 18.
Let's go down to Tom and Brent.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off this exciting game, and a big shout out to the Flagler Voice podcast studio for producing this show.
Morning, my brother.
Hey, good morning, Tom. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great, man.
Exciting stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great weekend for NFL, man. It was pretty cool. Pretty big games, but a couple games that didn't mean anything as far as seeding. But the big game that we were talking about earlier, the Seahawks, 49ers. That was huge. That was a huge game.
I definitely not the game I expected. I mean, I knew the defense was going to come out and play, but man, Seattle's defense showed, when healthy, dangerous, because this is the first time everybody, all three levels, was ready to come up and play that were healthy. So
yeah, and I think Seattle showed everyone in the NFL that's probably the defense to beat, man. And I think like Seattle's good enough to ride that defense all the way to a Super Bowl. Mike McDonald's got that, I think, number one defense all the NFL. You know what's pretty interesting is Seattle against 49ers right there. That was the difference between the number one overall seed sitting home in the first round of the playoffs, you know, possibly getting the winner of the Rams or the Panthers, or they're going to get the lowest seed. So it could be the Packers. It could be the
home field. I mean, that's what it is. Home field is, you know, when I think of home field, I don't think San Francisco. I totally think Seattle, though. You know what I mean? That you don't want to go into the 12th man and play in a cold weather. And man, that defense played so well. I was so impressed, and the offense did what it took on, you know, all three phases. The special teams, the punter dropped 2 inside the 10. The offense moved the ball. Kenneth Walker, you know, they do it with they do it as a group effort for sure. There's no one person doing it. So yeah, and Darnold, I was glad to see him get a win. I really am. You know, I think Sam Darnold, the poor thing, he came through the Jets. We know how pathetic and horrible that was. They were pulling out grocery baggers as wide receivers in his rookie year, and they, and the poor guy never had a chance.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats here. Sam Darnold, not a spectacular game, but just a very serviceable game. He had 198 yards in the air. Kenneth Walker had 97, almost 100. Jackson Smith and Jigma had another 84 yards.
Right, just solid.
And it just goes to show that those numbers right there, although not spectacular, that's good enough with that type of defense. And man, that's. I don't know how they're not the favorite to win the Super Bowl right now.
I guess, they are the favorite to win the Super Bowl, I would say. No doubt about that. That was, and the other game, Seattle is I think the lock. I mean, is the one seed for a reason. They're going to be tough to beat at home. I think that's an easy path. Not an easy path, but the path to the Super Bowl is definitely going through Seattle. Now, the other game that had just tremendous magnitude to it was the Tampa Bay Bucks, who went out and did what they needed to do. Their defense showed up. Carolina has never really fully ever impressed me yet. I mean, they've had some good games. They've had some good wins, but it's at any given Sunday scenario, so it can happen. But, they backed into the playoffs. Tampa Bay goes out and wins, and then Atlanta turns around and kicks a 55 or 60-yard field goal to knock Tampa out of the playoffs. And that, that's the way it is. Carolina's in the playoffs. Scary.
Yeah, it's funny looking at the Carolina Panthers. So Carolina Panthers they have a losing record, but they still win the NFC South. So they're they're going to end up playing the Los Angeles Rams, who we were just talking about 2 weeks ago as possibly being the number one team in all of NFL. So, yeah, I think you're right. They definitely stumbled into the playoffs. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Carolina. I think they're probably the least impressive team on any of the teams out of the 14 teams that made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe I would probably put Carolina just right below Pittsburgh. I know there's a lot of listeners that love those Steelers, but man, let's be honest. They were extremely lucky they went to the playoffs on a missed field goal. Now they have, the opportunity to go up against Houston, who has the number one overall defense in the whole NFL. That's going to be tough.
That didn't show up this past week, though. They did not show up. Their defense was brutalized in a game that they had to win. Their starters were all in there. It wasn't like they brought in the second, the tough thing about the way things roll out at the end of the year is the teams that need certain things to happen for them to get into the playoffs or just even better seeds. There's those teams that have already locked in their position and they're resting all their players, and they got their third team out there, guys off the practice squad, and that's kind of what was about to happen with the Rams when the 49ers lost. The Rams then said, "Okay, guess what? Now we've got to play because we can go over them," which is what they did. They came out and they scammed. I tell you what, Rams Seattle NFC Championship. Mark it down today because I believe that's going to be because the Rams look good. Yeah, that Ram offense, that Puka Nacua he's a freak.
It's everyone talks about Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, a couple of the other guys. Puka Nacua is, I believe, is the number one wide receiver in all of football right now. Some of the catches he makes too, I mean, unbelievable. Even the one that was on last week, he caught going out of bounds. They ultimately ruled it incomplete. But
that was 2 weeks ago, and that was at the end when they were just. I mean, how he made that? Then he made the one-hander. Yeah, I mean, the guy's a freak. There's no question about it. And Puka Nacua is a beast. His yak is like better than anybody's in the NFL. I mean, when he catches the ball, it's like when he catches it, he turns into Troy Polamalu. Just ferocious, angry guy running down the field.
When he was at Washington, University of Washington, I knew he was a playmaker, but I never thought he was going to turn into
nobody did.
The premier wide receiver that he is.
Nobody did.
Unbelievable.
They dumped Cooper Kupp because of him.
Yeah.
And then, hey, listen, Devontae Adams will be back. They're going to be scary. Kyron Williams and the kid Corum,
Blake Corum, yep.
Blake Corum. They're legit. They're scary.
Yeah, they
are a scary team. That freak lost to Atlanta, although, you see how Atlanta went out. Atlanta went out as a strong team towards the end. I think it saved Raheem Morris's job for sure.
Well, they did let go of him. They fired Raheem Morris. Yeah, they fired him. I think sometime last night I saw on ESPN.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So that the coaching carousel will start to begin. Stefanski's gone. Gannon's gone from
Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll. Yeah, they got to give the guys sometimes. Aaron Glenn's still there because. Who are we talking about?
The Jets.
Gosh, that drives me crazy.
I was kind of upset. The coach of the year, in my opinion. I know New England did great with Mike Vrabel, but coach of the year to me right now is Ben Johnson, just because he's never been a head coach in the NFL, and this is his first year. He had those prolific offenses for Detroit 2022, 2023, 2024. They went to the NFC Championship game. In 2023, they lost to San Francisco, but they were still there every single year. And them losing Ben Johnson, everyone in Detroit said, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. We still have Dan Campbell. Let me tell you, as a Detroit fan, it is a big deal.
No, it was, and everybody knew it was going to be a big deal. He was the guy that everybody was wanting as their head coach, and Vrabel, because of that strength of schedule, I still think that New England thing's a little tarnished, and that's not Jet, anger or anything like that because they're in the dominated for so long. It's just the facts. Yeah. I mean, the facts is they had the 32nd weakest strength of schedule, and and that's a big deal in the NFL. That's a big deal.
Yeah,
and so I think Denver's legit. Denver came out. They took care of business against the Chargers.
They did. They did.
Although that was a Charger team without a lot of people playing.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Chargers. So I was kind of looking at this. The best possible situation that the Chargers could have got into if they beat Denver, the only thing that they would have did, the Chargers could have helped New England. That's the only thing so they could have played themselves from a 7 seed, which is their position right now, and they're going to travel to New England to play the number 2 seed. They could have possibly became the number 6 seed and then went to Jacksonville. I mean, I believe a week of resting Justin Herbert, all the other starters. I think that's going to pay dividends in the first round of the playoffs, January 10th to the 12th.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And again, strength of schedule is. I still. It's always. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to beat it like a dead horse. But Drake May for MVP. To me, it's Matthew Stafford.
I'm right with you, man. I think Stafford. I think they just showed his numbers early. 47 touchdowns on the year, 4,700 yards. I mean, I do that first. I mean, I think everyone could kind of pencil the Rams in against Carolina for a win. I think they opened up at 10.5 points favorite, so everyone's
double digits in the first round of the playoffs. Kind of scary.
That is scary.
Yeah.
It goes to show how good the Rams are, but also,
Yeah.
The Carolina's not that good.
You know, we talked about Jacksonville, and I'm excited for Jacksonville. I'm excited because I think Trevor Lawrence is, he's been a whipping post for a little bit for a while, and I believe that he came out. He had a good year. Now they did close against two teams that were just not there.
Yeah.
I mean, to finish up with the Titans. But they went out and they took care of business. They did the thing they're supposed to do. That's go out and win handily, and they did that. And Houston, Houston surprised me. 38-30. Letting Old Man Rivers put 30 points. Oh, actually, it was Leonard. Leonard.
Riley Leonard. Yeah,
Riley Leonard. He actually looked good.
He did look good, and that's the rookie quarterback that
Notre Dame. Yeah.
From Notre Dame took him all the way to the national championship game last year.
Yeah,
and ultimately lost. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Jacksonville. I don't want to say nobody's talking about them. People are definitely talking about them, but I don't think anybody's really putting a whole lot of respect behind the team from Duval County. So, and you're right. Trevor Lawrence coming out of college after the 2019 championship game that they lost to LSU and Joe Burrow, expectations were sky high. I think Mel Kiper said he was the highest rated quarterback to come out of college since John Elway in 1983, that famous 83 class. But yeah, right now it looks like Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Robinson on the outside. They're playing like one of the top teams, and it's their offense is clicking, but it's really that defense that's looking great, man. It's looking great.
Yeah, with a lot of no names, like we talked about San Francisco, same thing. Like a lot of guys that plug and play guys, like that Belichick was famous for doing, bringing guys in and just putting them into the right positions. I love it. We talk about it. Belichick's famous, do your job. And if you have the right schemes and you have the right coaching staff, if 11 guys do what they're supposed to do, things happen. And I believe that's what's going on in Jacksonville. I think that they've got a good defensive coordinator. They got a good program. They're building it, like you said, the kid Cohen from Tampa Bay. He's doing a nice job, and they have a kicker that is freakish.
Yeah, seems like he sets a record. It seems like every other week.
Yeah, what's it, Brady Little or something?
Yeah, Cam Little.
Cam Little,
yeah.
67 yards, 68 yards. Hit a 70-something in spring training, which didn't count. So they went out and broke the record anyway, just for good measure.
I think they should still count that, but I know it doesn't officially go in the record books, but it is there. It is on video. So yeah, he did make a 70-yarder, which is unheard of.
Yeah. Then when he pushed everybody back, and having a kicker having a celebration is kind of creepy. But he threw everybody back, and then he's like, yeah, that's me, baby. That little moxie is good. I think everybody having a little moxie to play the game of football. You better have a little moxie.
It's funny. You don't really see kickers talk trash too often, but
Martin Gramatica, I remember he used to be like, he's the one who jumped up in the air, pumped his fist, and tore his ACL. I remember that.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So the Jaguars going on to, Buffalo Bills. That's who they get in the first round. So we're going to see who's real.
You know what's funny? This game's so interesting to me.
Yeah,
Not only
me too.
It's an intriguing matchup, but here's the thing: everyone's talking about Josh Allen. He always had to go up against Lamar Jackson. He vanquished Patrick Mahomes. Well, guess what? Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are both watching from the couch this year. So Josh Allen, and I'm a Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play. But I just don't think they have the weapons on offense. I don't think they have the offensive line to protect him.
Isn't that? But don't you think? I mean, we'll talk about that more the next show because we'll talk about all the games coming up. But just to hit your point, I think it's scary that Buffalo has had this team. And 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row, they've gone to the AFC Championship game or close to it, and they haven't brought in a great wide receiver since.
I don't get it. It's almost like the Buffalo Bills window. I know Josh Allen's only 29 to 30 years old, but his window right now, he's getting in his 30s. So, and Cook's probably only got about 3 or 4 more years. The tight end, I don't understand why they didn't shore up that offensive line.
They got a great two great tight ends.
Two great tight ends,
Not Kincaid or two legit tight ends. So we got to move up. We got 5 minutes left. So, but let's talk about Green Bay. to me, they backed into the playoffs. They're backing in even further. Now they go to Soldier Field. You don't think Chicago's going to want to go in there and step on their head. Now, Jordan Love didn't come into the game. He looked like he was ready to come in, and I believe he could have, but they chalked it up because they knew that their seeding wasn't going to change, whatever they did. So they didn't know Josh Jacobs, no. So they backed in, and I think Chicago, we'll talk about that again on the next one. And then let's talk a little bit about the the Ravens and Steelers.
Yeah.
For our group, all those people staying up and texting each other, Mr. D leading the charge with his Steelers, and two kickers that come down to the end. That poor kid, he's a rookie and had to he didn't miss it. I don't even think, did he even make it? I think he was wide right of the pylon. That's how bad it was. But
it was a
bad kick.
You know it's funny, Tom. So that game, I saw it was 26-24 after Pittsburgh missed the extra point to go up by 3, so they're up by 2. I saw Lamar Jackson hit somebody over the middle. They get down to like the 22-yard line. I turned the game off. I thought it was over. Baltimore's going to win that game. I hear in the morning that he missed the field goal. I seen the replay. Wow. Wow. I'd say they were just going to, it's, I'll say this. Great game, great entertainment, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
No, and that's why we'll cut them short on the results of the game for our group. We had to cover it. To Denise, I feel my sympathy goes out to her and her Ravens. So,
R.I.P. Ravens.
Yeah, R.I.P. Ravens. and Jen and Jody and Mr. D live another day. All right, so one college game before our next show, and that's Miami and Ole Miss. I think Miami is the team to beat, but like you made a good point before we came on, and that is Ole Miss is who's going to score more points.
That's right.
And it's going to be the Miami defense versus the Ole Miss offense, and the winner of that battle is going to win the game because I think Miami can go down and score. I don't think Ole Miss's defense is tremendous. I think that Miami will score, but can they keep up with Ole Miss in the on the offensive side?
You make a great point. So when I look at Miami, Miami beat Texas A&M. They beat Ohio State. Both of them had spectacular defenses. Everything's telling me that Miami should win this game based on trends, but the way Ole Miss played against Georgia, it just seems like you score on them, they score right back. So and again,
Miami's defense. Can you do it against that defense? Boy, I tell you what, I bet you Bain's going to be pinning his ears back, and he's coming.
Yeah.
Chambliss is going to be. Chambliss is not going to be able to settle into that spot.
No.
He's going to have to climb the ladder. He's going to have to move around and get his ball out. Now he's got a good arm. He's a good quarterback on the move, but
I just don't know if he's going to be able to improvise for the third game in a row like he did last week against Georgia. So I don't know, man. They're kind of living on the edge a little bit, but
you got Ole Miss, I got Miami, so we got something.
Yeah, well, it should be exciting.
I will be pulling out the cigar on Friday morning.
That game's January 8th, by the way.
Yeah. So, but it was another great show, and I appreciate everything, brother.
It's been fun,
New
man.
Year again.
Thank you.
This has been good.